This is a conversation with Chef Vijay Kumar. He's an executive chef at Semma, the only Michelin Star Indian restaurant in New York City and one of the only Michelin Star Indian restaurants in the entire United States. He's also a partner at Unapologetic Foods. In this conversation, we discuss his childhood growing up in a village in Dindigul, Tamil Nadu, the local cuisine of that place. We talk about the diversity in South Indian food, his experiences at Semma, and his experiences as a chef at other places. This is no time. If you like what you see, then do hit subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, rate 5 stars in Apple Podcasts. This project takes a lot of my time, money, and effort. So if you'd like to see it continue, do consider making a donation on Patreon, Anchor. You can buy a gift on Instagram Reels. You can join as a member on YouTube. You can buy super thanks on YouTube. If not through monetary channels, then do consider sharing these episodes, leaving your likes and comments. All forms of engagement, they really go a long way. For other forms of love and support, you can follow this channel on Instagram or Twitter, or follow me personally.
And now, Madame, is no time.
You grew up in a small village called Natham
Yes, sir.
in Dindigul, Tamil Nadu. For my first question, I want to get inside a time machine and go back to your childhood, back to Natham. What was a normal day like in your village, right from the point when you woke up in the morning, all the way to the point when you went to bed? What are the different type of things that you did? What was the village like? What are the people like? What was your family like? Your mother, your grandmother? Can you describe an average day in Natham during your childhood?
Well, Natham is a very small town in Dindigul district, which is kind of close to Madurai. So that's where I grew up. My whole childhood is from Natham. And my grandparents, they used to live in a very, very small village close to Natham. So, the most of the food inspiration that we do at Semma from my childhood memories, something that, I used to visit my grandparents during my school holidays. When you have school holidays, the parents just literally take you this, please spend your time with your grandparents. So you go there, spend a month, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever holidays that you have, you spend with them. That all this, when you're in small town, you just do a regular routine. You just wake up, get ready, go to school, do your homeworks, and come back to your homework, do things. The most exciting thing that you do when you get to visit your grandparents in the small villages, where there are no electricity, there's no buses. Even when you go there, you have to walk at least 2 to 3 miles in your feet.
Oh,
30, 40 years ago, when I was when all my siblings, we all go together, it's like wearing same clothes. When you have a parent, they all make you wear the same clothes. We all used to go there and then we torture our grandparents. At least in a small town, we have a TVs, other entertainments, right? You get to watch TV, or you do some of the small entertainments, like in the small towns, or you can go to some movie theaters or whatever it is. In small villages, there's nothing. Literally, it's a farm. My grandparents were farmers. They are... it's such a small farming community, where they were doing all the farms. We used to go and help them in farmings, and they also have such a huge responsibility. Oh my God, my grandkids are here. I need to entertain them. I don't know. They don't have any luxury to take you to anywhere else. Let's go your shopping mall, movie theater. There's nothing. So all they do is just take you for a hunting or fishing, or a snail foraging, and then and just take us to the farming. And then we also help them. It's also kind of fun for us, help them in farming, even though if it is hard work, but we enjoy doing it. And we had so much fun out of it. Let's say you my grandparents, they used to have a licensed gun. They go for hunting. We used to go with them. We get the rabbits and venison and stuff like that. It was kind of legal 30, 40 years ago. Now it's illegal. You can't go for a hunting now. So you could be in trouble for that. So, and then same with the snail foraging too. When we do farm works, when you get a break, we just go, they all take lunch break, or whenever they take a break, and things in village, whatever the sustainability cooking exists here right now, that's exactly was there 30, 40 years ago. Still there in a lot of villages. You don't really buy anything. So you grow everything on your own. our family, we grow all our vegetables, like all our rice. We don't buy anything except stuff that we don't grow in our villages. So things like that. We just go and then we just get ready for the day for the dinner. Like let's say like you pick vegetables from the garden, or like pick like forage snails from your rice paddy farms and stuff like that, right? So and then after all this like snail foraging, hunting, and then they literally they cooked. I mean, they cooked the meal at the farm itself in a mud farm in an open fire, and then we used to eat them in a banana leaf. Oh my God, that's one of the best meal that you can ever think of. I mean, I wish I can go back to that memory again now. So it's that's all amazing memories.
I love it because there are so many Michelin star restaurants and there's so many different experiences, but no one can replicate that experience of you eating at the banana leaf, sitting around the fire in your village. It feels like that memory can never be replaced by any Michelin star restaurant over here.
I think there are a lot of chefs who's really bringing up their childhood memories too. I mean, I don't know if everyone had such a rural life like me, because I'm sure they all probably grew up in a little, at least like bigger towns or bigger cities and stuff like that. Because I think people like me, the town that I grew up is such a small town, and then the grandparents, like I said, there was such a small village where there was not even large enough infrastructure like electricity. There was no roads and stuff like that. So I mean, and then like I said, the best food came out of from those villages too. Like there's so many inspiration that came from that village. So
you brought up going deer hunting rabbits, foraging for snails, which is not allowed anymore. But I'm very curious about...
You can still do snails though.
Sorry?
You can still do snails.
Snails you can do. Yes. So I'm very curious about what skills do you need when you're looking for snails? What are you looking for? Like, how do people go around hunting snails? What are the different markers? And even maybe deer hunting, which you can't do now, or looking for rabbits. What are the lessons you learned when you went from the grandparents? What did they teach you about hunting? Like you said,
I mean, you can be picky when you hunt for like rabbit or deer, because it's very, very hard to get the... I mean, even still rabbit is kind of common, but deer is not easier to find it. So, I mean, when they see, the deer is pregnant or something, they don't really like hunt it. I mean, they know it's not advisable. I mean, the snails, again, I think they know the season. When it's a harvesting, you can see there's a lot of snails in the farmers in the farm. So you can just pick the best out of it.
Well, how do you know which is the best snail?
Well, by the size, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because like my dad, if he's checking for watermelon, he's tapping the watermelon.
Like the okra, they just break and see that. Yeah. My mom still like I think coming back to the sustainability too, like, so thank you for reminding me that. Like, we also have things like farmers market, the same exact concept that what we have right now in modern days. It's been existing for many years in all the villages. Like what they do is there's a thing called, in Tamil we call it Ulavar Sandai. Ulavar Sandai means farmers market. What they do is all the farmers, whatever vegetables they grow, because if I'm a farmer, I don't grow every single vegetables, right? Like probably I grow like chilies or tomatoes or eggplants, or some other farmers, they grow some different types of vegetables. So what they do, they all bring their vegetables to the farmers market in a small town, the town that I grew up in, Natham, right? So there are a lot of villages around Natham. So what we do, we just go for like to buy stuffs, like every single one gathered on one single day. The town looks so crowded on the particular day because almost like 60 to 70 villages around the town, they all come to that farmers market. They pick vegetables. So these are the memories, because I used to go with my moms to help carry the vegetables because it's too heavy, right? She always takes us with us to bring the vegetables, like with her after she bought everything. So that's what she does. She break the okra then to make sure they are like soft enough and. Yeah, there are like watermelon. They they just tap on it. There are a lot of.
I was wondering if there's a way to like tap snails and find out like which is the best.
Not really. As of I remember.
Just the sizes.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there are some other criteria also. Maybe I'm not too aware of it because this has been like 30 years ago. I was a kid, so I don't exactly remember how exactly they used to do it. Because I remember the food. And the recipe I got it from mother. because my grandmother's no anymore. So because I'm sure she got the recipe, so I had to call her. Can you please tell me again how exactly she did it? So that's exactly. I don't know if I can exactly replicate what she used to cook it before, but I hope I think I did like as close as what she did.
Yeah, some of the best food, those recipes that have been traveling from like the grandmother, then to your mother, and then the mother's translation.
Even though if you can replicate 100%, but I think
it's still the best food. It's interesting what you mentioned about the farmers market. That area is known for the best. Dindigul has the Odin Chatram vegetable market.
Oh my God, how do you know that?
You'll be surprised.
Odin Chatram, yeah, that's one of the very very popular farmers market. Like I think it literally all the vegetables like transferred to all over the India actually.
Yeah, it's such a famous market.
Yeah.
Well, Dindigul is known for the vegetable market, making lox, and the biryani, right? And now for you as well. So you're putting it on the map. Let's talk a bit more about the food of the area. So you spoke about going deer hunting, rabbit hunting, about snails. What are the type of dishes that people ate in Natham, in Dindigul in general? What is the cuisine like of that place? Yeah,
like I think like we had the dish called kudal varval, which is made out of goat intestines. Like that was actually one of the popular dish too. And then we used to eat the if you go to any villages, for the marriages, there's also one more dish called ratta poriyal, which is a goat blood poriyal, like a sauteed goat blood. Which is, I mean, I know it's kind of like sounds very, it sounds probably weird, but it's one of the very tasty and very tasty dish, like very tasty, and also it's very healthy. Like even doctors suggested you to eat the dish when you're like when you're low on hemoglobin or when you're low on like stuff like that.
Why is it that these type of dishes became so popular in that region of India? Because you don't find like goat blood dishes or goat intestine dishes in other parts. Is there like a historical reason, or is it just like that was what's available?
It's probably it's what is available. Like like you said, like you don't really go to supermarket. You don't get any products from international products. Like you just eat what you have in your village. Like it's the same exact concept, like sustainability concept. Like that's probably it is, because those are things what we have in a village. We made use of it, and we made sure we use the best. We made use the best out of it. Like
it's interesting, right? Because that's what you had available, and that became like such a popular local dish. But over here, if you serve it, now it's an exotic luxury dish.
Yeah.
Who's ever got?
Yeah, like I think even coming back to the snail story, I mean, I told a lot of even the reason why snail is on the menu. I was just sharing the same story with Chintan Rani. I mean, who's already doing phenomenally. Like I mean, like even Chef Vikas said that I think they are like the eye opener. Like they are like we have nothing but so much respect for them to give us so much courage to open to give so much courage to do the regional Indian cuisine.
Yeah.
And so we were just talked about the menu, and and then I was just casually sharing them like how we used to go for a snail frying, and then my grandmother used to cook snails, and then when you go to school, and then people just make fun of you, like, oh my god, you guys eat snails, it's kind of poor people's food, like it's because once they started making fun of you, you don't even like share with others, like we used to eat all those kind of foods.
This is in college or like
in school?
In school in the village itself?
Yes. Oh. Yeah, it's a small, like I said, I went to school in a small town, right? Where like it's where you get a lot of kids like from multiple backgrounds, like they used to make fun of you, or this is like poor people's food, like stuff like that. And then same thing when I went to culinary school, they were I still remember the first year when I went to culinary school, they were teaching there's a dish called escargot. It's a French delicacy. So I was like, what? It's a delicacy? We thought it's a poor people's food for a very long time. And then so that's how. And then Chintan Rani was like, oh my god, you gotta put them on the menu. And then I looked at them like, you kind of crazy. Like, why do you want me to put them on the menu? This is like no, this is your food. This is something you grew up eating it. You had to put them on the menu. So they gave me courage, like otherwise a lot of restaurants, they've opened restaurants for the commercial purposes, like just let's make a dish that can please the crowd. Let's make the dish that's something that everyone likes it. This is something they encourage me to make a dish that's something I grew up eating it, something that I enjoy it, something that kind of brings back my memories. Yeah. Like so I'm so thankful for them.
Is it different from, so you just spoke about the dishes that they eat there with goat blood, goat intestines. Is that different from the food that you might eat in Madurai or maybe even Chennai and rest of Tamil Nadu? Is there a big difference, or are they still under the same umbrella of the same style?
Pretty much in same umbrella, but if you go to Madurai is known for like Madurai, because I'm also very close to Chettinad regions. Like my dad used to work for a government. He's also like, for some time he was kind of moving around, like, when they get transferred, they move around. So we used to live in a Chettinad before even come to Natham. When I was a very young age, so like we used to live very close to Chettinad region. So my mom also got so much influence from the Chettinad region also. So, you know how we learn from neighbors. Yeah. So they all share the recipes. So I think she had so much influence from Chettinad things too. So I think that's where you can probably see there's some of the influence in Semma's recipe. Also, there's so many Chettinad influence also. Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, if you go to Madurai, like I think there will be like Madurai has a lot of regional cuisine, especially a lot of micro regional cuisines. Like because Madurai is known for like this kind of dish, like the blood poriyal and the intestines and even brain. You have the I'm sure there's other place in Tamil Nadu too, but I think Madurai is known for this kind of foods. Like
this kind of food itself. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Time for a difficult question for you.
All right. Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, you have to be ready for this. Do you prefer Clinton Street Baking Company in New York City or Kavna Parota Kadai in Natham?
I have to say the Kavna Parota Kadai. I'm sorry.
Sorry to Clinton Street Baking Company fans. Why Kavna?
Something when you grew up eating it, it's something close to your heart, right? Yeah. When you eat something when you were a child, like, that stays in your memory for a very long time. It's very hard to like take it away from your memory, from your palate.
What's the best dish to get if I have to go to Kavna Parota Kadai?
Get the parota and salna.
That's the number one dish to try. Okay, I'm definitely going to do it. It's interesting when you've been talking about the food of Madurai, the food of Natham, Dindigul. There's so much diversity in this food. There's so much richness to it. And you've often said this in previous interviews as well. For a lot of people, the perception of South Indian food is only idli, dosa, sambar, chutney, right? And not just people outside India. Surprisingly, even people within India, like a lot of North Indians also, if you ask them what is South Indian food, they'll just say idli, dosa, sambar, chutney. So I want to play a little game segment with you.
Okay.
I'm going to list down the 5 states that make up the southern part of India. And as I list each state, I would love it if you can tell me a bit more about the type of food they eat there, the dishes, the cuisine, maybe the history, the cultural implication. And hopefully we can like showcase the richness of South Indian food in this process and show people that it's more than just idli, dosa, sambar. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's go. Let's talk about the first one. What is the food of Kerala like?
There's a lot of seafoods, like, Kerala is known for, like, there's a lot of backwaters and stuff like that. So they're known for all the seafoods. I love every seafoods from Kerala though. Like, I think the one dish that we have in the menu too, that's something, it's called the mean polichadu, which is a banana leaf fish. The fish that's wrapped in a banana leaf. I think that's one of my favorite dishes. Most of the Indian dishes, if you think about it, that's all same spices. The only thing is the proportion, like, the way, the proportion of spices are different from each dish. So that's why it's going to, not like other cuisines, we don't have any written recipes. What we do is we just use our eyeballs, and then that's how we measure all the ingredients, right? So, also they use like a lot of coconut milk. I mean, even in Tamil Nadu also, like I grew up in a coconut farms, like, where like we use a lot of coconut, like many dishes.
Let's talk about the next state. Let's talk about Karnataka. What is the food of Karnataka like?
I mean, Karnataka and Tamil, we all the southern Indian state has similar, almost every, even though, say, for example, we all have rasam. Yeah. Even though they have a different name for every single dish. Yeah. And also slight variations. Let's say if they go to Bangalore in sambar, their sambar is slightly sweeter than our sambar. Even if you go to Tamil Nadu also, every mom has their own version of sambar. Like, my mom cooks kind of slightly different version. If you go to my neighbor's house, they probably have a slight different variation of sambar. So.
Okay. So there's a difference in the way they season it as well. Let's talk about Andhra and Telangana. What are some of the dishes of the food from there?
My all-time favorite is I know even if it is known dish, like from Andhra, it's the biryani, the Hyderabadi biryani. And if you go to Telangana, all the pulusus, like something like they have this one thing dish called Nellur Chapla Pulusu, which is the fish curry. Oh my god, that's one of the best one.
And finally, let's talk about your home state, Tamil Nadu. What is the cuisine of Tamil Nadu like? All the regions.
Well, I mean, even though definitely everyone thinks that like dosa and idli are just a dish from Tamil Nadu, that's one of the most signature dish. There's nobody can. I'm sorry, I have to say that we are very proudly say that. Like I think we can make one of the best idli and dosas.
People from like Kerala and other states are going to be messed. Karnataka people are going to be.
I mean,
massive.
they also make the terms. We make one of the best idli and dosas too. That's how I'm going to say. I'm not saying we are the only one who's making it.
I'm going to send any emails I get. I'm going to send you.
Sorry. So, yeah, I think other than that, like I said, we have a lot of micro-regional dishes too. Like, if you go to Madurai, you'll explore a lot of different dishes from parotas, salnas, like even the liver. I forgot to say that too, the liver fry.
Yeah.
The brain fry, and then the kudal varval, which is the intestines things. Those things, and it's you don't get to see them in a very fancy restaurants. Even if you go to like Chennai or any like big star hotels and stuff like that, because it's kind of very regional dish. Or you can probably find them in the streets, street foods, but I don't know if you can find them in a very fancy restaurants.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think I still have to thank Chintan Rani gave me the courage to do this in the middle of New York City. Like, which is, I'm so glad that I was able to bring back all those childhood memories, like literally in the heart of New York City. Like,
let's talk about it then. Firstly, I think you crushed it. 4 out of 4.
Thank you, but don't put me in trouble. I'm sorry.
You put yourself in trouble. But yeah, let's talk about it. You mentioned something very interesting. You've been talking about these micro-regional cuisine, the snippets of these different dishes that exist in different parts of South India. You have tried to bring these snippets at your restaurant, Semma. Semma, for those who don't know, is the only Michelin Star Indian restaurant in New York City.
For now, there's going to be more, and we want more.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, yeah.
And one of the only Michelin Star Indian restaurants in the entire United States. Semma in Tamil translates to excellence. So let's talk about the message. You just brought it up as well. What is the vision behind Semma and the parent company, Unapologetic Foods? What is the general idea, the foundation, the principle of it? What are you unapologetic about?
The concept is simple. We're trying to be unapologetic. Like, we're trying to be who we are. We're just trying to cook the food. That's something we grew up, eating it. Something we're not trying to do, like not trying to please the crowd. We're trying to cook the real food. Something like, we're not trying to turn down the spices. We're trying to keep the food as it is. So that's our philosophy. That's our goal. And then I hope you are trying we're trying our best. I'm very fortunate to have a team also to have the same passion, same vision. And like, I didn't even mention my really good friend. We grew up together. We went to same college. His name is Chef Suresh. He's one of the main chef at Semma. He's actually you can tell that that chef has like anything he does is like it's like a gold. Like the food that he cooks is like I don't know, whatever he does. I mean, I'm so blessed that he's with a team and then and you can tell the passion that man has. Like the food that he cooks is like something you can like a lot of guests have. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you. I'm sure he's probably making the food and cooking everything. I mean, a lot of guests have been told that it just feels like just like my mom's cooking or my mother's, like my grandparents cooking or my aunt's cooking. So
when you cook the food, do you feel this pressure of I'm representing a certain culture, a country, or is it only focused on what the dish is?
No, not at all. It's a responsibility. Why would I have to think it's a pressure? I mean, is there any job in the world that has no challenges? Is there any job like that? No, I'm sure we also have challenges, but I always look at this way. I always look at this. This is a responsibility to represent my culture, my cuisine. Like, this exactly I feel. Like, I mean, I have been feeling like this. I'll feel like this forever. And then we have a very long way to go. Very, very long way to go. Yeah.
Chef Vikas says something very interesting where he had said, I'd asked him the question whether cooking is an art form, like some form of creative expression? Is it a science or is it something else? And he had said it is a mix of all of these, but it's also a sacred experience for him. It's like a spiritual experience.
It's emotion. It's emotion.
Would you agree with him as well?
100%. Like, he's one of those inspiration for all of us. Like, we are trying to follow his footsteps, and then and he's one of those role model for a lot of chefs. Like, cooking is an art, right? I mean, you can't just cook it if you don't really enjoy it. You have to enjoy it. You have to you have to enjoy what you do. Like, it has to show in the food too. Like, if you just cook it just for the sake of cooking, that's not going to work. It's an art. It has to come from your heart. Like,
I find there's a very interesting dynamic at Semma, which is, well, you serve snails. You used to serve venison, goat intestines, beef. This is something we just spoke about. It's not easy to get this now in India as well. Deer hunting is banned. Not easy to find goat intestines or snails as well. Beef is difficult to find in many parts of India. I feel like if I go to Semma today and I eat, then I'm not just being transported to India, but I'm also being transported back in time. Like, what I'm eating today at Semma is what people used to eat, this micro-regional food that people used to eat 30 years ago, that I probably cannot even get if I go to India now and try to get those dishes today. Would you agree?
I think yes, and also no. Yes.
Let's cover
yes,
both.
yeah. Yes, I've been, like I said, in certain places like big cities and big fancy places, I don't think you can find it because it's a very regional, micro-regional cuisines. And then there are still like the status in India still exists. People judge you for eating certain food. It is still there. So but if you go to villages, that's their food. I mean, that's how they eat to survive. So it is still there. If you travel like deeper parts of India, deeper parts of southern India, like you can find all those dishes that's there in Semma's menu.
I also have to ask you about your experience. So you're a graduate from the State Institute of Hotel Management in Trichy. You worked at the Taj Hotels in Chennai. You worked on a cruise liner.
For a short time, yeah.
For a short time. And then before you were at Semma, you were also at the Michelin Star Rasa in San Francisco. You worked in so many different places, so many different styles. What have you learned? What lessons have you learned from all of these experiences? What insights have you gained? What advice can you give to other chefs?
Like, I think I always say is like, every single day is a learning point. I think I learn from every single person I used to work with, regardless whoever it is, even dishwasher, it doesn't matter what position you're holding it. There's always something to learn from somebody. Like, there's always something. Like, till now. Yeah, till now, I think I don't think my learning is never going to stop. I'm still learning. I will be learning forever. So the learning will continue.
What did you learn on the cruise line? I just feel like that sounds like such a difficult job.
It's a challenging job. The thing is, because you get to do the same thing over and over. So from there, what I learned is your efficiency will improve. Like, when you do the same job over and over, like, for example, if you do the same job for the first day, like 10 minutes, after a few days, that time you can get the job done like 7 or 8 minutes. You know what I'm saying? That efficiency will increase. So
has that helped you in your work now?
100%. I mean, like I said, every place has been a learning point. Like, I learn it like there has been a lot of mentors. I mean, my mentor list is like huge. So I don't want to mention any one single one. Otherwise, if you don't mention, they get offended. So there are so many things have been learned from so many people and so many places. So I'm so blessed and fortunate for all this opportunity that I had in my life.
Let's talk about two really important mentors in your life, your mother and your grandmother. What lessons did you learn from them that you still carry with you today?
Perfection. My mother is a perfectionist. If something is not right, even the small mustard seeds, if it doesn't crackle, and when you make tempering, you heat up the oil, the mustard seeds has to crack a little bit. I still remember how she gets mad at my sister when she cooks it. She'll make her do it again. Like, how many times I can teach you? Why can't you just make it right? Like, that's something I learned from my mother. Perfection.
Yeah, and your grandmother?
She's cool. I mean, my grandmother, I don't know, whatever she does, even though she does the simple cooking, like, she makes the best out of whatever dish that she makes. Even though she doesn't make so much, like, still doesn't have a luxury of like, all this refrigeration, like the mixer grinder, like, they used to, I still remember that we still have a, the stone grinder that we make for all the spices, everything. My mom prefers to use the stone one to grind all the spices because he thinks the better taste comes from those kind of, yes. I think those are things that I learned from my grandmother. Like, just even though if it is simple ingredients and simple equipments that you have in the kitchen, but you can still make the best food out of it.
So being a perfectionist from your mother and being so resourceful from your grandmother, so you can make the best use of everything.
Exactly.
I love it. Before we move into our closing questions, I would love it if you can interpret what I've built with the Lego. What do you think this is?
Oh my God.
This is the toughest question, I think.
I know. So you're not going to judge me with this, right?
You're
Oops,
breaking
broke it. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I don't know. It looks like a little tall tower to me. I don't know exactly what it is.
Tall tower, it is.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was building. Closing questions for you. What are some books, movies, role models that have strongly inspired you in your life?
Dr. Abdul Kalam. Yeah, I think I read a couple of his books in Tamil. Like, that man, like he also came from a simple and humble family like me. The fact that he reached that heights, it's always inspiring. Like, it doesn't matter what family you come from, how rich your family is, how poor your family is. If you want to achieve something, if you dream about it, you can still do it. All you have to walk through your goal. I think you can do it. That's something I learned from that great man, and I think he will be in our memories forever. Yeah. There are a lot of movies.
Let's pick one.
Because I used to watch a lot of Tamil movies. This movie called Valve Mayam. I'm a huge fan of Kamal Hassan. So
Who isn't? Legend, Kamal Hassan. I'm going to ask you another difficult question. Which is the best restaurant you've eaten at? And you cannot pick one of the restaurants under Unapologetic Foods.
Oh, wow. Well, I loved Court, the Korean steakhouse. And then I love Dam, I love Don and G's. So those are my the best restaurants that I've eaten so far. I mean, there are still lists as big. I mean, I don't, otherwise the episode will continue for another 1 hour. So, yeah.
So what is the one dish you recommend at each of these?
Definitely when you go to Court, you try all the steaks, like, because nothing will go wrong in this. Like, I think you'll try everything. Don and G has their best the pastas. Yeah. And Dame has the seafood. All the seafood is amazing.
Last 2 questions for you. You have a powerful name, Vijay, named after...
I don't know if it is powerful.
I think it's a powerful name.
Okay.
It's named after the Dwarapalika, the gatekeeper for Tirunatha, the abode of Lord Vishnu. It has this religious significance to the name. So I want to check with you whether you want to have a legacy as powerful as his name. What would you like your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered after you're gone?
I think it's kind of interesting question. I don't know if you achieved to be called like legacy or something. I feel like I still have a very, very long way to go. So I think I think it's like more to achieve.
Which is a lot to say for someone who's already got a Michelin star, which is one of the greatest achievements in your profession. I will say this, if you say you have a lot to achieve, all I'm thankful for is I know you applied to culinary school and engineering school, paid the fees for culinary school, and then you got into engineering school and your parents said you should go for engineering, but they never gave you a refund back, the culinary school.
Yeah.
So you ended up being in this profession. And all I want to say is thank God they didn't give you the refund, because otherwise you wouldn't be here today and we wouldn't have Semma as well, probably.
Well, thank you. And maybe everything is meant to be, like, it's there are a lot of things happening for the reason, like in the life. So
maybe it's meant to be. Final question. What is the meaning of life, Chef Vijay Kumar?
Oh my God. Meaning of life is to live, just live. I mean, just don't worry about every single thing. Just live your life. I mean, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be a tough life. I mean, there's going to be, life is all about everything. Just don't focus on the negative part of the life. There is also a lot of great things happening in our life. Let's just stay focused, positive. I mean, enjoy the life.
Enjoy your life. Stay focused on the process. That's amazing meaning to have. Chef, if people want to find you, if they want to connect with you, if they want to taste some of your food, what is the best way to find you?
Come to Semma.
Come to Semma, but only if you can get a reservation, which I think
Am I asking for trouble myself?
Yeah, I think it's impossible to get a reservation, but that's the best way to find you. Sir, thank you so much. It was a privilege talking to you.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks a lot.